जो भाई को सपोर्ट करते हैं वहां पे कुछ लोग नहीं आए, उस दिन तो नहीं किया था ना, उन लोग को भी कर देंगे, समझ गया?
पर परसों आएंगे लोग सर्च करके।
हां उस टाइम पे सबका सब दिन नहीं आज, लेकिन आज कल का कर लो,
इसलिए मैं आपको टाइम दे रहा हूं, कुछ अभी करवा दूंगा जो प्लेट है एटलीस्ट तक कवर कर
क्या उसमें काम बाकी है, जाकी ऑयल में बोला क्या?
अच्छा सर, मेरा सुबह बहुत डर रहा था कि ब्लॉकचेन कैसे बनेगा, समझ में आया। अच्छा मैंने एक ही प्रिजम्पशन की लेटेंसी का प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व होगा?
कोई प्रॉब्लम लेटेंसी का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं होगा, इनहेरिटेंस प्रॉब्लम, इसलिए हम वेट करते हैं ना जाए कि नहीं हो गया कि नहीं हम
जैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है सर, मल्टीपल नोड्स है, वो मल्टीपल नोड्स ही रीसेट कर सकते हैं ट्रांजैक्शन।
नहीं अब मैं बात करता हूं, ठीक है, मुझे पता है कि जब साइट पे यहां से बैनर जाने साइट पर तो मेरे क्या थी हमारा आगे में नहीं तो तो कढ़ाई अंदर जो ट्रांजैक्शन तो हो जाता है, यहाँ पे ब्लॉक को कंफर्म कर लिया तो मुझे 2.5 घंटा का बात ये जिम रिजल्ट की वो सर वो सर निकल नहीं पाएगा, कोई नहीं तो 2.5 घंटा में इसकी। हाँ सर मैं बोलता हूँ यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि टाइम दिया है एक्चुअली 3 घंटा में इतना ब्लॉक हो रहा है, वो 4-5 ब्लॉक हो गया। सर
आप जस्ट आपने बताया कि डबल स्पेंडिंग अटैक नहीं हो सकता इसमें, डबल स्पेंडिंग अटैक
हो सकता है
नहीं हो जाएगा क्योंकि वो इतने टाइम तो कंसेंसस नहीं हो पाएगा।
हाँ वो नहीं डबल स्पेंडिंग अटैक हो जाएगा, इसलिए वेंडर क्या करेगा ना वो तो इमीडिएट ट्रांजैक्शन करेगा तो दूसरा पार्ट कोई नहीं वो दूसरा पार्ट तो वेंडर क्या करेगा, आप एक खरीद किया मेरे से राइट, मुझे आप भेज दिया ट्रांजैक्शन आ गया मेरे, लेकिन मैं विश्वास नहीं करता आप उस टाइम का प्राग भेज सकते हैं एक ब्लॉक में तुम आ गया काम करता है ना हो सकता है मैं क्या करूं, नहीं इससे नहीं है 3 ब्लॉक हम बोले 3 ब्लॉक आ गया तो वो मिनिमम हो गया तो वो लोग देखेगा यहाँ 3 ब्लॉक आ गया तो उनको पास को पहुंच गया, इसमें पूरे 2 घंटा लगेगा तो रेगुलर पहुंच रहे।
सर ये जैसे 50% अटैक है, मान लीजिए फोकस नहीं पड़ेगा
हेलो अरे बोलो तो 30 कर दूं किस बोल रहे 20 किस बोल रहे 20 थोड़ा कम बोलो कर दो कम नहीं ना आपने ठीक बोलो मेरा है ओके बोलो अच्छा ठीक है मेरा है बोलो सोमनाथ सर का बोलो पैसा कमाने का बात देखिए ऑपरेट करते हैं ना ऑपरेट को तो बोल दो मेरा नाम बोलो उनको पैसा का बात नहीं होता ठीक है बोले तो सोमनाथ सर का है पैसा वो बात करेंगे ठीक है आपको लेगा 30 रुपए ले दो 2 रुपए कम कर लेंगे ठीक है चलो कोई इशू नहीं आप कर देना करके देखिए ठीक है ओके कर दो जल्दी बोलो निकाल देगा हम सब रेडी करना निकाल दो हाँ फीडबैक हाँ ठीक है थैंक्स फीडबैक के सब ना
कल हाँ सर अभी डिस्कस करता है। वैसे मान लीजिए जैसे 3 वेंडर के पास में गया तो 3 वेंडर में से 2 ही वो कंसेंसस नहीं हुए
तो मेरे पास तो देखिए तुमको दिया मुझे दिया हाँ। लेकिन वो आपको आइटम नहीं दे रहे मैं भी आइटम नहीं दे रहा मैं भी वही करेंगे 3 बोलते नहीं जब 3 हो गए तो मेरा नाम आ गया बोले वो तो उनको दे दिया पैसा मुझे वो कर रहे हो फ्रॉड है बोलेगा नहीं तो वही अच्छा होगा
जैसे कंसेंसस करते हैं यदि कुछ नोड भी मतलब फॉल्ट हो गया मतलब करप्ट हो गया खुद से
कोई इसमें कोई इशू नहीं है ये जो प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क कोई इशू नहीं है जो इसे किया है ये ट्रिब्यूनल उनका कार्ड हो गया उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है उसकी जगह में है कि बाय टाइम फॉल्ट कर रहे हैं ये उसी में प्राइवेट ब्लॉकचेन में पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन में सिमिलरली प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक में जिसका पास ज्यादा स्टॉक है स्टेक है वो जो बड़ा स्टेक होल्डर है वो जो उसका सब सुनते हैं डायरेक्टर जो सुनेगा ना पहले बोल जो बोलेंगे तो और नहीं
सर इनके पास प्राइवेट ओनर में सेव होता है, इसके पास ओनर है क्रिप्टोकरेंसी का,
तो ओनर मतलब जो
आपके पास प्राइवेट की होती है,
आपका वॉलेट का
वैसे वैसे न्यूज़ में देखा है कि किसी को प्राइवेट की का फोल्डर फाइल मिल गई, वो आगे करके ऐसे
तो वो क्या होता है
64
भाई बंद कर दीजिए जल्दी।
अच्छा हो गया। हाँ हो गया हमारे।
हाँ ठीक है
64 बिट कैरेक्टर का जो प्राइवेट की है इसका फाइल लगेगी, उसके फाइल सेंड करते हैं,
फाइल की इंस्ट्रक्शन देते हैं उसको स्कैन नहीं करते।
ओनर के पास तो प्राइवेट की होगा ना, तो किस पे स्टोर होगा?
आप यहाँ पे स्टोर करते हो अपना मामला है, उसको आप सिक्योरली रखना है। आपका प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं वॉलेट।
हाँ
कि आप ऑनलाइन पकड़ते हैं यहाँ पे मेरा कभी आपको ले लिया तो क्या करें?
सर वो प्राइवेट चीज तो एक से हो सकती है, जैसे डिजिटल मतलब कंप्यूटेशनल जिसकी पावर उसी में से होती है, अगर उसी पे अटैक हो गया तो प्राइवेट की कोई नहीं है,
इसको सुरक्षित रखना।
हाँ ये तो
एक पहले आपको जैसे कि बिट लॉक है
एंक्रिप्टेड ही चीज है,
हाँ तो आप एक रखना पड़ेगा दिमाग से निकाल दीजिए आप कोई तो एक आपको ज्यादा फर्क क्या करना
उसी के अटैक पर प्राइवेट बट क्या वो प्राइवेट की डिग्री की शायद की दूसरे जो प्राइवेट की है, अगर उसकी फाइल हां डिवाइस पे
अगर आप नहीं करते आप तो
कोई भी आप पेन में सेव करके रखते हैं
तो कोई डिपेंड कर लीजिए नहीं होगा ये मेरा वॉलेट को मैं पॉकेट में रखा कि साल पॉकेट में रखा कि इधर रखा तो मेरा
न्यूज़ में आता है ना कि पेन हो गया तो चले गए विदाउट प्राइवेट की कोई ओनर भी एक्सेस नहीं कर सकता
है ना इनको क्या पता है ओनर कौन है
जैसे बैंक पासवर्ड भूल गए तो हम रीसेट करा देते हैं, क्या आप ऐसा सिस्टम
अरे हो गया आप लोग अभी तो बहुत अपना हुआ
वो कल आएगा।
हाँ ठीक है वो बंद है ना वो घंटे देगी हाँ देखिए
नहीं सर कल बाकी उसमें पूरा काम वो कल
थैंक यू चाय पी चाय हो चाय है ना चलो आप पी लीजिए दो से बुक पी
चला
हाँ चला गया
चला
गया
चला गया
अच्छा ठीक है अच्छा ये एनिमे से नहीं उसको कंप्लीट कर दो उसके बाद तो उसको मैं और नहीं किया ना इसको कंप्लीट करके नहीं इसका कितना आया स्लाइड
34 आया
34 आया है और 30 स्लाइड्स है
सर मुझे एक चीज और डाउट है इसमें ब्लॉकचेन में नहीं, उन्होंने सुबह पढ़ाया था स्ट्राइड थ्रेड रिस्क असेसमेंट के लिए, तो अपन जो फाइनेंशियल में बताया कि एआई में
नहीं तो एक काम करेंगे इसको शुरू कर देंगे उसके बाद इधर आएंगे इसको देंगे दिया था ना
रिकॉर्डिंग हो रहा है
आज रिकॉर्डिंग का जितना हुआ ना उसे कॉपी कर दीजिए जब बैठते हैं
आज का कल देंगे सर कल तक का हो
ओ कर दिए
हाँ
नहीं वो पेन ड्राइव में कर दिए
हाँ
कर दिया ठीक है आइए लोग बुला देंगे So we discussed this at first. If I time permits, I will continue to that, right? Let me cover up what we have the other topic, right? Trustworthy PKI system. PKI, I hope everybody understand, right? What the PKI is? Public key infrastructure, right? Okay. So we know that the infrastructure, how public key based infrastructure to be created, or what is that? I will discuss it. Before that, I'll give a simple basic step because many of you don't know that how the cryptography works. And then I will talk about the PKI systems and what is the requirement for a trustworthy PKI system that I will discuss it, right? So this is the things what I told you that. So trustworthy system is a computer system that operates as intended. Of course, this is I think many times we discussed it, and it protects user data and privacy. Reliable and secure enough to gain the trust of its users, right? This is the system, right? So it performs its functions without failures or malicious activities. That's it, right? So cryptography is, of course, a foundational element, a fundamental element designing a trustworthy systems to ensure security, privacy, and integrity. That one more thing is that just before this, we discuss the scalability. If time permits, I will discuss that, or in the next times when I squeeze it with the Professor Maple. To protect sensitive data, prevent cyber threats, and establish secure communication channels. Okay. You must be knowing that how the cryptography overcomes, right? The cryptography is a combination of two words, the crypt and writing and graphing, right? Crypto means secret, and it is a Greek word, and the graphos means writing. So from the secret writing, right? And this course and hypothetical methods for encrypting the data messages, and it is not a new concept. It is from some ancient ages, right? The cryptography was there, right? Okay, to make the information secure, right? And there are broadly you can divide the cryptography into two different types. One is the symmetric, and other is the asymmetric. So if I look at the, I just copied it from the Shannon's thesis, right? Okay, you know, the famous thesis of the coding and secret. Okay, the schemes of general secret system would be looking like this way, right? So this is source of the message, which is my M, right? And I have some technique to encrypt it, which is called encipher it, using a key K, and this key is from the key source, right? And the output is my cryptogram that you can see that the ciphertext, right? This is my plain text, which generates M, and my ciphertext E. And I send this ciphertext in the open channel, right? Open channel in the sense anybody can have access to it, right? Including the attacker too. And the intended recipient, once he obtains this ciphertext, he uses the key, right? If it is same key, we call it symmetric key. If it is the inverse of that key, we call it asymmetric key, cryptography, and you obtain access. Make sense now? And in sense, I can say that, okay, say if I use that 0, 1, that means the message is combination of the 0, 1, so on binary text, and I use some encryption algorithm. The output is my ciphertext, which is again so the binary text. So I said 0, 1, N, all right, and I'll send it. Right? The channel is open to everybody, so one can access it out. But this is scrambled text, right? From that, actual meaning will not be known. Yes or no? Right? Well, so this is this, and the intended party, once he obtains this scrambled text, he can unscramble it out because he knows the corresponding key, and he gets this same message exactly what he sent. Make sense? Right? So the two different types, what I call the symmetric key, where the same key is used by both the parties, Alice and Bob. So you use the key, locked it out, this plain text, and locked it. So I got the ciphertext, and again I use the same key. So it is my decrypted. Okay. On the contrary, If you look at the asymmetric key cryptography, I read it out, right? So the plain text I used the public key of the Bob. Okay, and I got the ciphertext, and Bob only knows the corresponding private key. So this I made it red and this is black, right? So this is inverse of this, so he can decrypt it. Elaborate. Make sense? Right? So these things. We are not going to the mathematics details, right? So you see here, if I ask you that if I use the symmetric key encryption, there are n number of participants are there, then how many keys are required? N into n minus 1 by 2, order of n square. Right? I have to have a key with her, with him, and so on. All. And similar case with the all also, right? So the total number of keys you will see n into n minus 1 by 2. Makes sense, right? And the most important is order of n square keys to manage is really difficult task when n is large. Number 2 is that how will I distribute the same key to both the parties? Somewhere they have to meet so that they will give the code, oh, I will use this key. But actually they are far away, then how will you distribute it? That is again another challenge, right? So key distribution is securely transmitting the shared secret key between communicating parties without exposing it to unauthorized access. How will you do it? Okay. Second, the key management complexity. This is what I told you. As the number increases, then the number of key also increases, order of n square, n into n minus 1 by 2, right? And the lack of non-repudiation. In the sense, let's say that Alice sends the message to Bob and later on denies it. Then how will you resolve it? Both will go to court?
Sir, using digital signature.
How will come? Digital signature is not there, right? It's symmetric key. So Alice sent this encrypted text, Bob decrypted out, said, oh, why you're abusing me? Then there is no guarantee, right? And illegal, right? Because why the reason is that the same key he is having. So he can say, no, this key you have, so you created the message, I didn't create. So that conflict you cannot resolve, right? The non-repudiation, lack of non-repudiation. One can repudiate it. Right? These are the 3 major challenges in the symmetric key cryptography. Let's look at the asymmetric key, what the problem is. The problem main challenge is the key verification. I already told you that. So what the party does is that I will create a public key, private key pair. I will give you the public key so that whenever you write a mail or send some messages, you will encrypt it using my public key. And I own my corresponding private key, so I can decrypt it out. Okay, so just I told you that. What? I told you that this is my public key. Okay, so let's assume that you all are here. I told that this is my public key, and whenever you send a message, you send it me by encrypting this key. Now Ankur is not here, right? So how Ankur will send the message? Then he have to trust you. That rather than that, if you give, rather give my key, if you give your key, your public key, whatever the message comes, you will decrypt it out. Because you know the corresponding private key. So how to verify the key? It is my key. How to verify it? Right? The key verification is challenged. Ensuring the authenticity of public key to avoid being picked by a malicious party posing as a legitimate user from any given data. Okay, you will tell me that this is Ankur's key, your key you will give it, and similarly to Ankur you will give it a little key. This is Char's key, so you are taking all information of ours. Right? That is man in the middle data. Make sense, sir? Right. Number 2 problem is that the performance override. If I look at the symmetric key like AES, DS, etc., we will use very fundamental operations, right? Like addition, multiplication, etc. But if you look at this public key cryptography like RSA, so what I need to do, yesterday I told you that I take the two prime numbers, large prime numbers, 1024 bit, multiply P and Q. That is, of course, you are doing once. But when you encrypt it out, you take the M message to the power E. Then you are doing an exponentiation operations, which is very consuming time. Right? So that is the performance over it. Public encryption is that slower due to the complex mathematical operations. Right? And third, that the certificate authority reliance, which comes to your PKI, public key infrastructure. What happens is that, just I told you that, this first things what I told, that is public announcement. I announced this is my public key, and the problem I told you. So let's make a directory, public directory, and everybody's public key and ID I'll keep it. Then how the problem will be, or how the solution will be. So I write that, okay, this is shown, and this is the public key of it. And this is you and your public key, and so on and so forth. So tomorrow another person will come, what he'll do? He will add this, he will append it out. While appending, he will delete it somebody's, he'll modify somebody else. So what you need to do in access control mechanisms, right? One can insert, but one cannot delete it, or one cannot update anything else. Like this way you are going to do it, right? So this is having another difficulty, right? And most important thing is that, okay, I wrote my public key this, tomorrow my public key, private key is stolen. Then what I need to do? I need to delete that, right? But I told you that nobody should delete it out. Then how to do it? So these like difficulties would come also, right? So this, of course, give an idea about the public infrastructure. So public infrastructure relies on the trust certificate of authorities. I will tell you that. And because it relies on the certificate of authorities, there are other problems. We'll discuss it too. Right? There is something we have that is hybrid cryptography too. That is combining both types of cryptos to leverage the strength of each. Right? But not all the problems. But what problem? And this is the performance over it. It requires high computation, and it requires key distribution. So let me use this public key for distributing the keys, and when they interrupt, when they send the message, let them encrypt using the private key, symmetric key. So that is called the envelope. Okay, digital envelope. Okay, right? This is what I told you. So the spend time we go here. So this is digital envelope. A digital envelope is, see that you make the envelopes, right? You know, you have the envelopes, you see it, right? There you write a letter, hold it out and place it in the envelope, paste it. Then what happens? You'll give it to your friend, and then when he opens it, because he or she only knows that how to open it. So he can read your letter. Just like that, it works, right? So see here, I take the message, I generate a random number, which will be my private key or session key, what you would call, and encrypt that particular session key using the public key of yours. Got my point? That's what I did here. So random symmetric key, I took it. Okay. And this, I take the public key of yours, encrypt it. So this is my encrypted symmetric key. I take this random key, that session key, take your data and encrypt the data. Got my point now? Okay. So what I told you, you take the paper, wrote everything, then you folded it. That is your symmetric key. Okay. Now place it in the envelope and paste it. Right. You can use it like this way. Okay. Then I send it this. This is called the digital envelope. Now what the next party does? He will obtain this what? This encrypted symmetric key he will get. And this encrypted message you get, right? So this encrypted symmetric key, correspondingly, the private key to this public key will I send you. corresponding to your public key, you know the private key, right? So you can decrypt it out, right? So then again you will get it, right? What this is, you will get it. Make sense now? And once you get it, then you can open it out. You decrypt this and get it. This it is. Makes sense now? Clear, right? What I did. Now let's see that what I achieved here. What I achieved? Now, if my message is very large, if I encrypt it using the public key, it is too computational intensive. Right? So rather than doing that, what I did, I just encrypted a small random number, about 128 bit or so. That is my symmetric key. Right? What I did is. So only once I need it out.
Here the receiver is using 2 key to encode this message.
No, yeah, 2 keys in the sense. See here, I took a random symmetric key, that is random number, right? So let us say your message is of say 10,000 characters, so 80,000 bits, right? If I encrypt it using RSA, so at a time the block size is of say 1024 bit, right? Your P and Q like this way, then I again do 80 times I need to do, right? For 80,000, around 80 times I need to do. All right. So what I will do is that I will encrypt this random key using the RSA only once. That part is over. And take this key, random key, and use the symmetric key encryption, which requires very less computational intensity. And encrypt your entire message of 80,000 characters or something, even your file. You do it. This is your encrypted file. So you send this as well as this. So this together I will call it the envelope. Why envelope? Just I told you that it is letter, and inside this I kept it and gum pasted it. Makes sense now, right? Well, so that's what I got. So when he gets it out, he gets these two things: encrypted message and this encrypted symmetric key. So this encrypted symmetric key first he decrypted because he knows the corresponding public key. So that's what he did. So now I got this. Now using this key, I will decrypt it so that they get the message. Okay, make sense now? आप एनवलप कैसे करते हो? एनवलप भी आप you will cut it out, अंदर जाते हैं, उसके बाद आपका लेटर लेते हैं और लेटर को अनफोल्ड करते हैं ना. तो जो अनफोल्ड को मैं बोलता हूँ एक आपका जो मैकेनिज्म है डिसाइफरिंग मैकेनिज्म. Make sense, right? That's what it is. Well, so now as I told you that okay, this looks okay, a digital envelope. To making it out, I need the public key. So as I told you, the problem with the public key, what if I do the announcement, these like problems are coming, directly these like problems are coming. So any of a solution could be the building a public key infrastructure. So the infrastructure looks like this way. Okay, what I do that I, the sender, I want to communicate with a recipient. Okay, so what I do is that I will request to the registration authority that give me a public key, private key pair. Give me a certificate. Okay, so it verifies it here. And if the request is okay, you are genuine, then you send to the certification authority. See, both the things can be in one server. These are one module and this is another module. You can do like this way too. This registration authority, certification authority, verification authority, both can be in one module by one server too. These are the three different modules, right? Okay, not to be confused. So if the request is okay, the certification authority will give a certificate. And the private key, corresponding private key to the sender. Now the sender will keep this private key with him, and as and when required, he will give the certificate to other party. आप जब जॉब के लिए अप्लाई करते हो क्या करते हो? You will give your certificate. You will show your certificate. This is my certificate, right? So in certificate, why is written there? Your name must be written, right? And your grades, etc. written. So when I see, look it out, I know that you are this person. Therefore, we call it. Oh, then I don't know whether it is yours or not. So I'll match your name with your Aadhaar card or something else. Okay, it matches. Then you say, okay. Then if that is the same person, this is your grade. Again, one this is there. You may fabricate it out, right? You may create one white paper, will write your grade point, all 10, right? Signed by you. I will not trust it, that, right? So what you see that, okay, who has signed it out? That must be a trustable person, right? So in each, and the down, it is signed by the director, IIT Patna. So I know the signature of the director of IIT Patna is like this way, then I trust your certificate. It's just like that. So I have a certificate. I keep my private key, and I'm sending this certificate to this fellow, so that the recipient will understand. Oh, right, this is his certificate, so I'll trust it. Okay, that's it. So they send the signed data. The recipient, once he obtains, the recipient say that okay, send the signature to the verification authority. And verification authority will see that okay, this signature is okay. Then I say that okay, it is correct. This certificate. Just as I told you that. I'll see that okay, and the director in the 2023 TLC was there, and his signature, so I'll indicate that this is your certificate. So this infrastructure is called the public infrastructure. Make sense now? Well, okay. So these are the functions inbuilt in the public infrastructure. So just what I told, just I'm writing it in a function wise. So one function is certificate request. One will request for certificate revocation. I'll come into that. Then client to client interactions. That is Alice above. They will interact. Okay, this is my certificate. They'll trust it, right? Then time stamping, non-repetition, and cross certification. I will tell you. Now, so okay, I will come into the certificate revocations. So here I written something certificate revocation. So say here now certificate revocation in the sense some student got a certificate here. He had got say 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, but later I found no, it is not the proper certificate, some grade is mistaken. Then what do you need to do?
I have to approach to the authority.
Which authority? Well, we know what we need to do. Now I'm asking that. So I need to take back that certificate. He will no, I will not give you the certificate. Then what to do? I'll ask you, okay, you return your certificate because your certificate is mistaken. You got it. If you 6, I make it 10, you will give happily and take it, right? But if it is 10 to make it 6, then you will not give it, right? So how to resolve this issue? So what I need to do is that I'll publicize it out. The so and so person's certificate is revoked. That's what you do. Similarly, property also you do it like this. That is also a certificate document, right? Sub-register signed it out and revoked that, okay, you know, this is the property of this fellow, it is by mistake. And then what you are publicizing the sense? Publish in the newspaper. What in newspaper will publish it? That revocation. This certificate is revoked. So the person who read that things, they'll keep that things. If that certificate comes, no, your certificate is revoked. Right? Just like that, he has to do this. Certificate authority has given your certificate. Of course, the certificate is written. You know your credit card, right? Written that valid from, valid to. Right? So it is valid until say 2026. It's correct. But if somebody knows your PIN and somebody stolen your car, then what will you do? You need to inform the bank to blacklist that, to hotlist that. So why? It is before that. If it is after 2026, your car is missing, you will be happy, right? Why should I keep in my home like somebody given? Isn't it so? Right? That's the things what is happening, right? Certificate revocations, if it is within that period, it need to. Now imagine the case. I wrote it in the newspaper told that I will take out the certificate, revoked. Case may occur that before it is sent to the newspaper, or that fellow read that newspaper, and this fellow has given the interview and selected and joined also. It could be possible also, right? So this is a case that this time management, right? We'll see the cases, then how will you do it out, right? And other cases also, right? What I'll do that, what you can do, that your certificate is, they are revoking, you know it out. They are placing in the Dainik Jagaran newspaper. You will go to the somewhere else, in the station or somewhere else, you would buy all the Dainik Jagaran. Then it will not come to anybody, right? They cannot verify also. This could happen also. Yes or no, right? So we'll see that how the cases will be handled, right? Let's see. So the challenges solved by PKI is that trust. PKI help users to confirm the validity of devices and websites. You're getting the certificate. You say that whenever you are opening a site, it says that your certificate is not matching. That is it. Because you are using HTTPS TLS, right? It checks the certificate of both the parties, right? But it ensures that users are connecting to the right website, facilitating secure communication between the user and the server, right? This removes the chance of being spoofed or manipulated. Okay. And authentication, passwords have been weak now. This password trusting is difficult. So the PKI gets the digital certificates that validate their identity, and since identity is validated, it works to authenticate users, devices, and applications on. So that the trust, authentication, and security, PKI does improve security as when trust is increased and authentication is implemented. Okay. The only attack vector that remains is PKI itself. So now all the attacks removed now. Now you see that if the PKI is secure, then your entire system is secure. Well, a certificate is looking like this, just as I told you that. I mean, the important main components, what I'm saying. I'll show you the standard components later on. The issuer, who issued the certificate? Just as I told you that. IIT Patna, right? That means. Then we have the subject, means your name, roll number, etc., etc. Distinguished name and your public key. That is the most important, right? Name, roll number, and the grade. That is binded to you, right? That's what is needed. Your grade is here, public parameters. Your public key, right? User public key. Then we see that finally we have these issuers' digital signatures. That's why I told you, the director would sign it. Otherwise, the certificate is not valid. Right? Okay? Well, so this is what we did it out, right? Actually, X.509 standard, right? IEEE X.509 certificate would be looking like this way. It is having these 5 fields. We have the version 1, version 2, version 3. Right? So let me check it, the version 1, which is the minimum requirement. The version, certificate serial number. Then you have the algorithm parameter, the signature algorithm parameter of that we is using. Then the issuer name, not before, not after, as in you are having the credit card, valid from, valid to, right? Then the subject name means your name, right? Then the algorithm parameter and key, that the public informations, what you use, right? Make sense now? Yes. That what are the public key parameters, public key and public parameters. This is. Then the issuer unique identifier, like your roll number. No, sorry, issuer identifier means the certificate author is, right? Identifier, subject unique identifier. This is yours, right? And some extensions, etc. Then the signatures. Related things, right? So if you look at the certificate revocation is again, the particular certificate you need to revoke. You see that thing, the signature algorithm identifier, then the issuer name, this update date, and the next update date. Okay, I mean to say that let's say it never happens like this way in an institution. every day some 2 or 3 certificates are revoked. Then what will be done? Every day you will not give it to the Jagaran, right? You will keep a bunch, right? In a week or so, you will give, okay, this 10 certificates is revoked. Right? So this is like things you are doing. This updated and the next updated. Right? That is things. And the revoked certificate. Which certificate is revoked? Right? That list, right? One certificate revoked, then another. So entire all the certificates revoked, that will be there. Legal. Make sense now? Right? So then the revoked certificate and the signature. The authority to sign it. Okay. So a trustworthy PKO works as follows: that the user or organizer requests a certificate from the CA, as I told you, right? Registration authority verifies the identity of the requester. CA issues a digital certificate containing the public key. Certificate is used for encryption, authentication, or signing. Recipient verifies the certificate's authenticity using the certificate authority's public. Okay? Then if the certificate is compromised, revoke the certificate and do corporate actions. Right? It is added to the CRL, certificate revocation list, or OCSP. That is protocol, right? The system for revocations. We see it here. These are the things that certificate distribution systems and this already told you that CRL problems mirror the credit card blacklist. Then it destroys the entire concept. Non-reputation CRLs have fixed valid periods. I'll come to this here. So this is the OCSP protocol. So what I told you, where the CRL list is there, come here. So the certificate authority and prepare the certificate revoke certificate and given it to the like the Dainik Jagaran. All right, you keep it in the directory. So you'll go to that and see the newspaper. Right, that's the thing. So if your friend, right, your friend say that okay, this is my certificate, then what you need to do? For validating that, you go to the CRL, download that CRL, and match that in that CRL whether your friend's certificate is there or not. Yes or not? Right? That's what it is. Okay. So in that case, what happens? That just I told you that what you will do is that okay, now they are only placing in the Dainik Jagaran. So I'll go to the market and take all the Dainik Jagaran papers to you. Denial of service, right? So nobody will have the certificate revocation list and you will get appointment. So to avoid that, this could happen here. What will happen? Now we may jam this directory, the attacker, it's certificate jam, it's revoked, right? So you will not be entertained. Otherwise, it is a bottleneck, right? Many people are requesting to this, it will be bottleneck. This could happen also like this, right? So the OCSP, Open Certificate Status Protocol, what does it do? It takes from the CRL and keep it with it. And keep it with it, right? See here, now user, rather than downloading, it will ask that, can you please check my certificate, check this certificate, whether it's revoked or not? You check it and give the answer. Yes, sir. So that is your OCSP. Make sense now, this difference? Right? So that's what you're using for the verifying whether a particular certificate is revoked or not. Okay? So any user with access to certificate authority can get any certificate from it. Only the certificate authority can modify a certificate. If there are a large number of users, one certificate authority may not be able to handle it. Okay? So also it is difficult to propagate the public key of the certificate authority secure. Right? So this is the just open SSL. Yeah. Now, what problem with that? Yes, you show me the certificate. I know that okay, this is the signature of Professor T. and Singh, so I can verify that okay, this certificate is genuine. That could happen, right? Because I and you are both from the same organization, right? That's what I'm saying to say. But what happens if somebody show me a certificate from some other country to that institution. So who the authority, who's the president, who signs, I don't know. The signing authority, how can I verify it? In the other way also, if this person, here the student goes to the abroad, they ask us, the academic section, they ask us whether the certificate is valid. That's the only way. So what do you understand now? If we both are from the same organization or know each other, then I can understand. I can validate your certificate. Otherwise, I need to ask you. Rather, he asks, you can also ask, you can take the certificate that, okay, Professor T. and Singh is the director of this institution from the street. Same thing, right? So that we'll see now. Now, suppose if both users have the certificates issued by two different CAs, then one does not know the public key of the other is difficult. So what the way, right? Just as I told you that they ask for the customer, who is your director, whether it is signed or not, right? Suppose A certificate is issued by X1 and B certificate is issued by X2. If A does not know the public key of X2, A cannot verify the public key of B. Make sense now? So how will you handle the case, right? So now I need to check that whether A certificate issuer knows the B certificate issuer sometimes. That's what I told you. His president sees that, okay, if he knows this director, then it is also okay, right? So A certificate is issued by X1 and B certificate by X2, and A does not know the public key of X2. Suppose X1 and X2 have securely exchanged sometimes communication. But they know each other, right? Then they securely exchange the public keys. They know the signatures, right? This is public key of this. Then it will be trustable, right? He can verify it. That's what I said. So X1 can prepare a certificate for X2 and send it to A. Right? That president knows that okay, this is the signature of, he knows this director, then he sent that, okay, this certificate is of that director. So in the director, in that certificate, what is there? Public key is there. So you now know that, okay, this is the public key. So you trust that your certificate authority, right? So you can verify it, right? A can request the certificate from X1, obtain the public key of X2, and then verify the certificate. B certificate can be verified only the corresponding X2 you know, right? So that you know it now. A can request the certificate from X1, obtain the public key of X2. Make sense now? Well, so notationally we write like this way: X2 to X1 and B to X2. B certificate authority X2, X2 given the X1 gives the certificate to X2. Make sense? Right. So these are called the chain. So this is chain of two certificates. Need not be limit to 2, it can be a big also. Okay. So therefore what we do is that when you communicate, so if I wish to communicate, I want to give you my public key. I will give you the public key as well as the certificate. So now in this case, I need to give what? Public and chain of certificate. So how long the chain will be? See here. So it could be like this way, right? Where it is missing? Here. So if I can come up to that, this chain, then I can do it, right? So this to this, so that we can do. Okay, make sense? Right. That's what I said here. Now the challenge in building trustworthy PKI is that the CA may not be trustworthy. Everything works fine if your CA is trusted. But if CA is not trusted, okay, or somewhat CA got compromised, means private key of CA got compromised, then things got problem. So that need to be ensured, right? And fake CA or compromised CA. So issuing and distribution of fake server certificates. You see that it is not impossible. It happens, right? You see that Diginotar certificate authority security breach resulted in issuance of about 500 of fake certificates for high profile domains, even for google.com. Right? So you are thinking like this, but the key is okay, that site is for google.com because that certificate is giving that. And this is compromised. I mean to say that if somehow we could understand, oh, the director writes signs like this way, then you can sign many certificates, right? So that's what it happened to fact certificates. Okay, right? Means he knows the private key so that he could sign it. Compromise. Right? Similarly, Trustworthy certificate authority breach. What if a customer acted as a certificate authority and hijacked and issued new certificates to many? This also happened, right? Okay. Then, of course, if it happens, then many remedial attack also possible, right? One way you will pretend that you are certificate authority, one way you will pretend that user, and you will do all of this, right? One is exploited, weak certificate validations, compromise the certificate authority in unsecure networks, right? These things. Then the challenge is that security of the certificate revocation list. That's what we discussed. That because reliability and security of certificate revocation list used to ensure proper life cycle management of certificates and revocation of certificates. So as an example that, okay, I told you that if an organization is publishing the revoked certificate in a week time, then during the 6 days, because Monday happened, then again next Monday it will come. All right. What happened this Tuesday to Sunday, the people, all the revoked certificate will not be known and they can do all communication. Right? That's what I'm saying. Used to ensure proper life cycle management. Right? And classical CRLs for certificate is maintained by certificate authority introduces a single point of failure. Okay, of course, the distributor, many we have the hierarchical certificate authorities also, right? But this is the points, the challenges you need to take care of, right? Okay, this is the things in a summary. I wrote it out that CA compromise, certificate expire and renewal, slow revocation mechanisms, scalability issues, and the quantum threats. Already, Maple told you that, right? The future quantum computers could break the existing PKI encryptions because of this RSA and like each cryptography can be broken when the quantum computer exists because the source are right. All right. So this is the things. Trustworthy is important. Already discussed it. Many letter, certificate misuse, fraudulent digital signatures, and the compromised CR attacks. Right. And this is the trustworthy PKI design principles. That what are the requirements I wrote it. That strong cryptographic standards. Of course, they require the quantum resistant primitives, right? If you consider the quantum attacks. Secure CA infrastructure, protect the CA keys using hardware security modules, multi-factor authentication, etc. Robust certificate policies and governance. Follow the X.509 certificate standard and baseline requirements. Right? Enforce the short certificate lifetimes. Implement automated certificate renewals, right? And then the transparent and accountable CA operations like maintain publicly auditable logs, whether that was correctly or not. Use certificate transparency logs to detect the rogue certificate, right? So with this, I will stop it here. This is not important, not I guess keep it out because this is another the type of trust mechanism, web of trust, right? Where you can say that key rather than, as I told you, that PKI, it is a centralized, right? One central certificate authority is there, right? Here, what happens that you can give the certificate to your friend, to whom you trust, right? Let's say, so there will be the direct and indirect trusts. I trust to you, so that I can verify your certificate, etc. But I don't trust your neighbor. But you trust your neighbor, so you will certify to him, and you can say that okay. Even you can say that okay, I can certify the 50%. My trust score is 50%, and I trust you 100%. So I say that okay, I trust 50% so that I can accept it out. of course, what other things I can do that, okay, another person to whom I trust also, he will give a certificate. So the two 50-50 certificate, I club it together and I will trust it. Otherwise, until that I will not trust it. That's the web of trust mechanisms which is using the practical privacy, that PGP protocol by Zimmerman in 1992. Right? That's the things I wrote it. Right? Well, so this, of course, there are issues that the private key is lost. Then here everything is lost because you are getting the private key and public key from another person, which is not in the web of trust. Right? So these issues is not considered. We are concerned of the PKI systems. And if you have questions, of course, we'll discuss. Otherwise, stop it here. Need to go here. Yeah. Any questions here? No? Thank you then. Here, this I will remove. Yeah, you can carry on. हाँ आप जाइए हाँ हरे कृष्णा ए आप वो काम कर लो
हाँ जी सर
बोला हाँ alright now okay okay right this ये यहाँ पे आया था नहीं वो तक चलने इतना हो गया है